This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, a shooting sends a Salem mall into lockdown. We hear from witnesses who hid inside while police searched for the shooter. Plus, lots of memories from this late-night diner. The Roxy is closing up shop this weekend. But first, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for a quick look at that forecast. Chris.
Good morning, Tim. A little wet to start our Saturday morning. This is a live look at radar, and it's green and yellow and orange in some cases. The brighter colors represent the heavier rain, and the Easter egg colors up here in the Cascades represent snow. Snow levels initially today somewhere between about 3,000 and 3,500 feet, and they will actually lower a little bit this evening. Big picture over the last 6 hours, big plume of moisture working its way through western Oregon and western Washington this morning. The heaviest rain that we see today is happening now. It will lighten up and probably taper off a bit this afternoon. Meanwhile, up in the Cascades, there's a live look at Timberline. A few fresh inches up there on the ground, and we'll see more of that. 50 last check at PDX, and the plan for today, again, steady light rain across the region this morning. That will taper off, I think, and become a little more occasional. In fact, Tim, the rain may shut off completely this afternoon. It's possible we see a few sun breaks with temperatures hovering in the low 50s. Back to you.
All right. I'd like that. That'd be great. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, we start this half hour with a chaotic situation in downtown Salem. Dozens of officers swarm the Salem Center Mall, thinking a gunman might be hiding inside. One person was injured, but that is a far cry from what many witnesses believe could have happened. Our Alma McCarty takes us to Salem.
Salem police cars blocked the road as officers, guns drawn, cleared shoppers and employees out of Salem Center Mall Friday afternoon. After finding a juvenile victim shot and wounded near the corner of High Street and Chemeketa Street, they searched the building for a suspect, looking out for any other possible victims.
Los clientes y me dijeron que había una persona fuera con una pistola.
Anna Coria, working at Boba Boom across the street, heard shouting nearby.
She saw her clients here, and then her customer came in and she was like, there is a person, armed person, a shooter.
Moments later, Anna described people rushing out of the mall.
Some of them were crying, they looked in distress, and she didn't exactly know what was going on.
People in businesses and a school nearby the mall told to shelter in place, while everyone else instructed by officers to avoid the area.
And when some of her customers that weren't aware would come in, or some of the people from the mall came in, she would let them in and then just lock the door after that.
Police never found a suspect in or near the mall, though they determined this was an isolated incident. No additional shots fired and no active shooter. Officers cleared the scene hours later. The mall remains closed until further notice.
Yeah, she said it's almost like she's never been in a situation like this, so it's a little bit traumatic because you don't know, like when someone's walking around with a gun, you don't know what they're thinking, what their emotions are going through, and so you don't know if they're going to shoot.
Now, the victim is expected to survive. Police have not released a suspect description or any possible motive for that shooting. Well, here's another dent in the fight against fentanyl. A dozen people now face federal charges in Oregon, accused of dealing counterfeit oxycodone pills that contain the dangerous drug. According to court documents, they were part of a trafficking ring that imported the fentanyl-laced pills along with heroin. They're accused of bringing the drugs up from Mexico to Oregon and Washington to sell. Police say the main suspect and his partner were using a salon in Tualatin to launder the money. The DEA seized 115,000 counterfeit oxycodone pills, 41 pounds of meth, and more than 57 pounds of heroin. Well, there are new developments surrounding an investigation at the Clark County Jail of a jail deputy's use of force. It's been described by the sheriff's office as potentially criminal. That includes new video released on Friday, and we want to warn you, some of this may be hard to watch.
This is video from inside the Clark County Jail on August 13th, 2021. The sheriff's office says deputies in the maximum security unit were retrieving food trays from a cell they say housed an inmate with a history of violence, including previous assaults on corrections officers. But it is unclear what led to this takedown of the already cuffed inmate by a deputy and others eventually piling on. We do know Sheriff Chuck Atkins, after seeing this, was concerned enough to immediately place Corrections Deputy Robert Hanks on administrative leave and launch both internal and criminal investigations.
After watching the video, I think the force was a bit excessive.
Although not connected to this case, attorney Jason Kafoury has handled many other use of force cases. As for this one,
it's hard without knowing what was said to understand why the guards did what they did. But in general, it seemed, especially since he was cuffed, to be more force than was necessary.
But Kafoury's not surprised by what he sees here.
We just, as the public, got an eye-opening video because there was a video in this particular incident. But the reality is this is happening to people in jail all the time.
Another potentially concerning element is the use of tethers on the inmate and the force used by deputies to pull the jailed man's arms through his cell door opening to release the cuffs. Sheriff Atkins is asking for patience, saying it is vital we review and consider all the variables for the integrity of the investigation and not prejudge this incident based solely on the video. We've not been told the name of the inmate or whether he was injured. You can see him here, apparently checking his wrists and arms after the incident.
Now, again, there is an internal affairs investigation on this, and the criminal investigation was done by the Pierce County Sheriff's Office. It's now complete and in the hands of the Clark County prosecutor. He tells me they're looking at it, but he's not sure when a decision on charges will be made. And by the way, we put all the video released by the Sheriff's Office up at KGW.com. Meantime, Governor Jay Inslee has signed a bill rolling back part of the state's sweeping police reform legislation. The new bill makes it clear police can use force to stop suspects from running away while being questioned. Officers said restrictions passed in 2021 left them unable to do so, and that meant, police say, potential suspects could simply ignore them and leave. Well, it's yet another Portland staple that is shutting down. The Roxy Diner announced this Sunday will be its last day. The owner says they've been losing money since the pandemic started. The big blow, though, they say, came last year. The Roxy's building was sold to the Portland Housing Bureau. It's now looking to rehab that building and is evicting commercial tenants by this October. The Roxy's owner says they tried, but could not find a place to relocate. And all this added to staffing issues, too.
Try interviewing someone or hiring them when you have an eviction coming in a few months. Who's going to take that job? Staffing went from really difficult to impossible. And that affected, that had a domino effect on everything else.
Now, the Roxy first opened back in 1994. So your last chance for anytime breakfast, Sammy's, and drinking for quenching of the thirst, as they say on their menu, is before 5 p.m. on Sunday. Well, meantime, today is the final day for the Amazon bookstore at Washington Square. Amazon's closing all of its bookstores across the country. The Washington Square store opened in 2016. Store employees say they were surprised by the decision. The company says it wants to focus on other brands like Whole Foods. Well, to stay open during the pandemic, a lot of Portland restaurants and other businesses expanded their operations onto city streets and sidewalks. The program that allows it was set to end in June, but now it will continue through the summer. Coming up, what's being done to keep it going past that?